Hey everyone, I'm Rafe Schaefer, and I'm joined today by Rachel Roosth. We're here with the third and final part of our Texas Business Court Year in Review series. Today we're going to be unpacking the first year of the Texas Business Court, its case filings, docket equalization efforts, and some of the foundational decisions that shaped its jurisprudence. Rachel, before we get into legal analysis, can you give us a sense of just how active the court was over the first year?
Absolutely, Rafe. In its first year, the Texas Business Court saw 185 cases get filed across the 5 divisions. The 11th division in Houston was by far the busiest with 79 filings, and then Dallas came in number 2 with 52 filings. The remaining cases were spread out across the divisions in Fort Worth, Austin, and San Antonio. So to manage this uneven distribution, as we've discussed before, the court used a docket equalization procedure that we've also called an exchange of benches procedure. And that has allowed the court to make the dockets somewhat more consistent, but still not completely even. Judge Dorfman used this procedure 24 times, primarily in cases filed in Houston, so that judges who were less busy from other divisions could have sufficient work. And while these dockets are not perfectly balanced, this approach helps ensure that all of these great legal minds are being kept busy with a sufficient number of cases while the court is still ramping up. I'd also note that the court has issued over 40 written opinions in its first year, and more than half of those were published in the Southwestern Reporter. One of the goals of the Texas Business Court is to make sure that the law is very clear to potential litigants. So the Texas Business Court, by issuing these written opinions, is making progress in this regard. Now, many of these opinions relate to the scope of the court's own subject matter jurisdiction. So on that note, Rafe, what were some of the most impactful jurisdictional rulings from the Texas Business Court this year?
Sure. One of the most significant themes in the court's opinions was the court's interpretation of the Enabling Act, House Bill 19's effective date provision, or Section 8, as we've discussed. The business court throughout the year consistently held that it lacks subject matter jurisdiction over a case where any part of that case was on file prior to September 1st, 2024. That was true even if parties were added, new causes of action were alleged, or even if both parties consented to removal. In total, the business court authored more than a dozen published opinions on subject matter jurisdiction between September 1st, 2024 and August 31st, 2025. 2 of those cases were appealed to the 15th Court of Appeals and resulted in opinions from the 15th. A prime example of this issue in the business court and the 15th is the Lone Star Product Services versus EagleClaw matter, where the business court remanded a multi-million-dollar dispute despite both parties' agreement to proceed in the Texas Business Court. That ruling was later reversed by the 15th Court of Appeals, which clarified that Section 8 of House Bill 19 isn't a subject matter jurisdiction limitation on the business court, and also clarified that because of House Bill 40, which was passed in the summer of 2025, the business court actually has a procedural mechanism now for hearing pre-September 1, 2024 cases. Rachel, what about the court's approach to its subject matter jurisdiction over other cases like internal affairs cases?
Yeah, there was an interesting opinion in the Reed v. Rook TX case. The plaintiff, Reed, alleged that Rook and its affiliates rigged the Lotto Texas jackpot using corporate structures to hide the alleged scheme's beneficiaries. Judge Melissa Andrews ruled that even without a corporate relationship between Reed and Rook, the case still fell within the Texas Business Court's jurisdiction because it involved Rook's governance and internal affairs. The court emphasized that the jurisdictional statute does not require those issues to be the predominant focus of the case. So even though this is a case with really interesting factual allegations that sounded like something out of a movie, the governance and corporate structure issues place the case within the court's jurisdiction. Rafe, let's talk about the amount in controversy requirement. How has the court handled that issue?
Sure, Rachel. When talking about amount in controversy, or really dollar values, the court has taken a structured approach in analyzing two different pieces there: the amount in controversy requirement and the qualified transaction requirement. On amount in controversy, the leading case is C-1031 versus Tarbox, where the business court clarified the mechanism by which parties must plead and prove that the value of rights asserted in a case exceeds the $5 million jurisdictional threshold. The court went through the burden-shifting framework that arises when a party challenges whether or not amount in controversy has been pled. And in Black Mountain, the business court also rejected speculative future damages as sufficient to lead to jurisdiction, honing in on the actual alleged damages pled historically for a breach and finding that those pled damages didn't meet the jurisdictional threshold. On qualified transactions, the other component of the dollar value threshold for the court, there were several cases as well. In Atlas IDF, Judge Whitehill clarified that a transaction must meet the $10 million statutory threshold at the time the transaction occurred or is consummated. It's not measured at the time the petition is filed. And in the G-Force case, Judge Bullard further emphasized that the qualified transaction requirement must result in a consummated deal, an actual transaction. A busted deal or a speculative agreement isn't enough to lead to business court jurisdiction. Rachel, how should litigants think about these rulings going forward?
I think these rulings send a clear message from the Texas Business Court that it is going to be serious about maintaining its jurisdictional integrity. So litigants should be precise and well supported in their filings, whether it's the timing of the case or the nature of the dispute or the amount in controversy. It doesn't appear that the court is going to allow any plaintiffs to cut corners here. And with the court continuing to refine its procedures and build precedents, I think we're seeing a really specialized forum emerge that's well equipped to handle complex commercial disputes in Texas.
Thanks, Rachel. I agree. I think it's been a fascinating year to watch the business court develop and see all these cases be filed. I'm sure we'll see a lot of exciting developments in the year ahead.
Yeah, I agree. So thank you, Rafe, and thank you everyone for watching. The Texas Business Court Insider will continue to keep you up to date on developments in the Texas Business Court and beyond. We would appreciate it if you would like and subscribe to this video, and that way you can find out when we send out new videos. There's also a link down below this video on the website to the Texas Business Court Insider Hub. If you click that link, it will take you to our hub where we have articles and other materials that can help in preparing to be before the Texas Business Court.